At this point, Tucker Carlson, you've officially become laughable. Like, you're a laughing stock. You're pathetic. You're shocking. Your inability to have any sort of intellectual consistency or journalistic integrity has really, really, really exceeded even my expectations. And I'll tell you, to be honest, my expectations of you have been pretty low. You see, I've been watching your journey. I've been following for a long time. And you were amazing back in the day on Fox News, doing your thing, doing your suit, Republican, fighting against the media. I mean, honestly, I was a massive fan. I was a massive fan back in the day when we were discussing potentially seeing if there was a way that Tucker Carlson would come to Israel to see the travesties, the horrors of what actually had happened. So it would make sense to him that this needs to be fought, right? It would make sense to you that Hamas are insane. And yet, yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was at this point, you are on a podcast grifting so bad that you actually think, number one, that you can get away with saying things like, if Hamas is even a terrorist organization, I really think they're a political organization, or something along those lines. Which, by the way, I have to say, in addition, just as a caveat, your laughter makes me gag. Your laughter is nauseating. I've never actually seen something less attractive than when you laugh at something. Cannot handle it. But that's a side point because we're actually here to talk about the content. The fact that you, as a thinking human being, as a person with a brain, as a person who understands media and like manipulation, everything that's going on, cannot see that Hamas are a terrorist organization. By the way, when they proclaim it, like when they say, oh yeah, we commit active terrorism. Yeah, we're proud of it. Yeah, we're excited about it. Yeah, we've taken people hostage. Because normal political groups, normal governments take people hostage. That's like a totally normal thing to do. Hamas are out there self-publicly, proudly telling the world, hey, we're the best terrorists. We succeeded in so many terrorist attacks. We've succeeded in so many hostage takings and tortures and murders on October 7th. We're freaking amazing. We recorded, we documented it. We're the best at terror. That's Hamas. And you are sitting on an episode trying to point out how Israel is really controlling the whole America. It's getting old. It's getting pathetic. It's sad. And you've got this guy, a disgruntled employee, which is like the number one not trusted, credible type of person that you want to talk about. And by the way, an employee who managed to get himself to like the head of the Palestine desk, which tells you enough about his mental capacity. But he gets fired. Okay. And he gets onto the show of yours and you give him a free stage. And then not only do you let him ramble on his nonsense, but we already know that the people specifically that you choose for your show are the most mentally unstable and uneducated people that you could have on. I mean, besides the fact, obviously, that you had Candace Owens, and that just tells us a lot, but you had the big lie about Amir Abud, this little child, that Tony, the GHF guy who came on and was exposing to the world what's really going on in Gaza. You had the woman-man thing, the nurse, not nurse, the Christian lady that's not really a Christian, that's a Palestinian. You know the one with that thing? You had that thing on to talk about the Palestine cause and how they're killing Christians when everybody knows it's absolute BS. And now you have this idiot, and I can't even remember his name because it's not worth remembering. But you have this guy on to talk about all of the control of Israel over America, yada, yada, yada. And then you bring up this line about Hamas. That is just probably a political, which is just so upset. In addition to the fact that you talk about Osama bin Laden and you're like, I would send condolences to his family. You have lost your mind. Now, we know you're being funded by Qatar, but don't you think maybe being a bit more subtle about it is probably a better idea? 9/11 is actually a really monumental and important day to America, and you're trying to sell this whole, I'm America first, I'm America first, I'm America first. But Osama bin Laden, probably just not your best bet. And I'm just saying this to you as as a fellow creator, even though you're not really a creator, political commentator, as somebody who is online and understands a little bit about audiences and trust. Do you not see that you're going so far down a loop to appease a really small group in the name of being so different, in the name of like being the person who can call out how everyone's trying to manipulate you and really you understand what's good for America and you don't understand that terrorism is bad, that 9/11 is problematic. And by the way, the humiliation of it being September 8th or 9th right now. Like, are you nuts? Now, I know you're also coming out with a show soon exposing the truth behind 9/11, and I am willing to bet my butt that it is probably going to be something against Israel and the Jews. Now, I don't know what we've done to you because I know a lot of people who are your friends and they're all Jewish people and they've all kind of said nice things about you. I'm not clear on what's happened, why you've gone this far down the line. I have a couple of theories religiously. I think we're a bit of a threat to you. And instead of being intelligent and realizing like you either join the Jews or you lose, you've decided to try and prove your ego that you can beat the Jews. And I'll remind you that you get on there and talk about like Christian values. You talk about being a Christian, and every Christian person that I have ever met or spoken to is publicly and very clearly able to say that you have totally lost all Christian values. You've just lost, like, nothing you are saying is aligned with what Christians believe. So there's the religious part. I think we're a threat to you. And I think in addition, more importantly, you got addicted to being so controversial and famous and being like the eye of the storm that you just can't help yourself. You just can't help yourself. You just need that publicity. You need to be the main topic of conversation. And that's the only reason I don't want to do this video is because like, you don't really deserve more. But you've become a really interesting case of what it looks like when somebody has a platform but is losing all of their brain cells. And potentially, you might want to go speak to a doctor about having some sort of dementia. And whilst I think that I'm being kind to you, suggesting that, I would say that a medical checkup is probably a good idea because you do seem to be getting a little senile. It might be the old, it might be the fat. I'm not exactly sure, but something is going wrong. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I would recommend you speak to somebody because it could be that you've actually lost brain cells from all the interviews that you've done. Like it could be that they're disappearing in your brain. So I would just, as a side point, recommend that you do that. But that brings me to the third or fourth point of why you might be why you are the epitome of what it means to be a retard anti-Israel person. Money. Qatar funding you. It's kind of sad. Don't you think it would be better if you did it like subtly? You see, like Qatar are not subtle about them paying for everything. But at least they like don't tell people what it means, right? So normally, let's say Qatar funds a football game. So they put like Qatar Airlines or Emirates Airlines, whatever, they put that everywhere so everyone knows. But they don't also write under that, Qatar loves radical Islam and wants to make the whole world Islamic and listen to Sharia law. They don't put that. They also don't put things like, we have hundreds of thousands of slaves. We don't believe really in women's rights. We are terrible people. They don't put that either. So I would recommend that if you're going to go on with your pretend thing of like, I'm America first, that you wouldn't put out statements like, I am a retard. I am an idiot. I can't think for myself. I love terrorism. I love Hamas. I love Osama bin Laden. I don't care to destruct all of American society in the chance that I might make some money off of it. I don't care to manipulate and lie to people as long as maybe I get more clicks and fandom for it. All of those things, like I would be suggesting to you at this point that maybe you should think about that a little bit. Anyway, Tucker Carlson, thank you as always for giving us more content to talk about on this platform. You entertain us to no end with your absolute idiocy, just real pure idiocy. And one day we'll debate. One day I will sit in front of you and I will call you out for every single one of your lies and every single one of your lack of integrity. And most importantly, I will pray to God that you do not laugh next to me, because if you laugh next to me, I'm afraid I might have a heart attack and just collapse. And that would be really unfortunate for the world, because unfortunately, the world needs more voices like me than they need voices like you. And one day we will figure out not how to deplatform you, but how to expose it so clearly to everybody that nobody listens to you and everybody calls you out for exactly what you are, a total and complete joke.